on, guys? My name's Cam.
And my name is Joel, and welcome to Sports from the Gutter, where we talk sports stuff. And today, what are we talking, Cam? Where are we going first?
We're going to recap these conference finals, and we're going to talk about how LeBron is doing.
Yeah, he had a great game yesterday. Pretty crappy game the day before. A lot of people making excuses that he's been kind of using that game one to feel out the whole series, see what he's got to do. But I don't think he...
Do you think that was an excuse? Because I felt like that was an excuse for how people were kind of bailing him out. He's
been filling it out, yeah.
I'm
because I think at this point in his career, he can afford to say that it's an excuse.
And nobody will question it.
Exactly, because you're like, oh no, he's so smart. He knows exactly what he's doing. We can see what happens. And it should be an easy ride. Not a necessarily easy ride for them, but it should have been a semi-easy ride, I think.
Which is crazy because they just came off, the Raptors series, sweeping them. They struggled against the Pacers.
Struggled mightily against the Pacers.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're seeing how... Not necessarily, because, LeBron was sort of God level and he's still there. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying this is going to affect his legacy if he does lose his conference, but it makes you worry that, they're down 0-2 to Kyrie list, Gordon Hayward list, other players list.
I really wish Kyrie was playing though, because it would make the storyline so much better.
So how
so much
I would
better.
be right now to see the series.
So much better. There. So much better. Just like that, just feeling of that he would have if. Because you got to figure they'll definitely still be up 2-0 if Kyrie was there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So just that feeling of he went on his own, even though everyone told him he was stupid, and yet he still is successful.
He made the absolute right decision by far, because now he's under Brad Stevens, so we clearly see how much of an amazing coach Brad Stevens is. And it's crazy how the other coaches...
How do you feel the players think about that? Sorry to cut you off, but how do you feel the players feel about all this Brad Stevens talk?
The players on the Celtics, it's taking credit away from their ability.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, they're a talented bunch of guys. Don't get me wrong, but they lost Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving. Yeah. So that just goes to show you that the sets that Brad Stevens is running and just how smart he is and how much he can motivate his guys that he has. Because he admitted he was just we don't have our full group of a group of guys. We don't have our full arsenal of weapons, but we're still competing. Obviously, they're up 2-0 against LeBron. I'm not even gonna say the Cavs because it's
it really LeBron. Is. And Kyle Korver and
not Kyle Korver.
He had a pretty good game yesterday.
Yeah, I mean I feel like
he's definitely doing better than J.R. Smith. That's for sure. J.R. Smith is looking ridiculously bad. And
how do you feel about
J.R. Smith? I don't like him. Tyronn Lue.
No. Tyronn Lue sitting Jordan Clarkson the whole entire game.
How do you do in the other two rounds?
All right, but
keep track.
Nobody did well, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was an internal issue, locker room stuff.
Yeah,
but I'm still confused as to why. And I was trying to research this morning to see why.
Is there anything possible?
Yeah, exactly.
Reasons?
Was he finding anything? So
I don't know. I haven't kept up too much with that storyline. But all I know is probably not the best idea going with J.R. Smith and also Rodney Hood. He's doing pretty bad as well. First game he had 11 points, and that's what Tyronn Lue justified his choice in putting him in. But he's pretty bad when it comes to the playoffs. With the Jazz, he was pretty bad. First two rounds, he didn't do too well. So you got to look at Tyronn Lue. He's probably feeling a little bit of heat because Brad Stevens is definitely out coaching him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's not even a question. We clearly see Brad Stevens out coaching him. It's just crazy how, the guys that picked up during the deadline, Larry Nance, Clarkson, all those guys, Hood, George Hill, they combined, I think, for 5 points. And I think George Hill got 2 of his points in garbage time. So it literally
doesn't really count.
Doesn't look like a good trade at all. Everybody was saying
when it happened, it looked great. It looked great when it happened.
It kind of did, but I was saying personally that I didn't think that they were the winners of that trade.
Only because you were. I think that's mainly because you were a Lakers fan. I think that was pretty much where the bias was going.
Nah, it wasn't biased.
Because I think you even said during the time, you're right now, they're gonna be good. But the Lakers end up winning because of all the reasons that the Lakers won. But you said that it wasn't, both teams were fully losing though.
I said that Lakers were the Cavs, it seemed like to everybody else that they were the winners of that entire trade. But we're clearly seeing obviously now that
definitely now it's really bad.
But to be honest, it should have been the Cavs winning. And on paper, it looks amazing, like I was saying. But it's just crazy how in the playoffs they just disappear.
Well, it comes down to some players just don't bring it in the playoffs. and you try signing a lot of big players, but they've never been in the playoffs before. So it's kind of scary to see. Yeah, you know, they do great in the regular season, but then they go quiet in the playoffs. That's where your money really needs.
My favorite player in this series right now, Marcus Smart, man. Do you see this guy playing?
Yeah.
Look, he just looks like a guy who's just putting it all out there. Like, you can just clearly see the Celtics have way more heart than the Cavs. The Cavs, they're just like rolling their eyes at each other.
Well, they're playing with house money right now. They're playing with house money right now. Like, they shouldn't be going this far, yet they are still doing it. So they've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, they just got that underdog mentality. Like, you know, we're playing against LeBron. We know we're a young team. We don't have Kyrie. We don't have Gordon Hayward, but we're going to put it all out there. Mm-hmm. And they're in the Eastern Conference Finals up 2-0.
They're going back to Cleveland.
They're going back to Cleveland. I think Cleveland's taking one in Cleveland, maybe two. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the series might still end up, you know, swinging back to LeBron's favor. But honestly, it's just really looking bad, honestly.
Yeah. And back to Tyronn Lue and the heat that he's feeling. Do you feel like Dan Gilbert's like looking at him like, hey man, if you guys don't make it to the finals or at least put up a good fight,
you fire him?
Maybe that, and also LeBron's probably going to leave for sure.
That's why I disagree with that. I don't think the outcome of the series is going to affect where LeBron is going, honestly, because they do have...
Say if the Cavaliers won the finals.
Oh, the Cavaliers won the finals?
Yeah. You don't think he would stay?
Yeah, I mean, that series, if they beat the Warriors, I think he'll definitely stay.
Yeah.
But if they were to lose this series, I don't think that would affect his decision on whether he's staying or not. Because it's looking good in the future. You know, like we were about to talk about later, you know, they have the 8th pick. So, you know, I mean, that... They could bring in somebody potentially good. I'm not sure who's in there. That would be available.
They're hoping pick. Michael Porter Jr. falls back down.
Hopefully, the other teams just pass on him just because purely based off of his injury history.
Yeah. For them.
Yeah, exactly.
Them,
you know, for them, obviously, they can just scoop him up. But yeah, it's just like honestly feel really bad. You know, it's crazy. Siri was recording me.
I was looking at that. I didn't know it could do that.
Wow. What was I saying?
I don't know. I was distracted by that.
Yeah, it was very weird. I didn't press anything on my phone and Siri.
You don't agree?
It's that user data stuff, man.
You don't agree with the fact that I'm saying words to drag along.
Well, I said that I don't agree with you on the fact that I think that this series, this result will have factor in LeBron staying or leaving. You know, me being Lakers fan, of course, is biased there.
I really don't think he's going to the Lakers now.
I mean, I think there's more of a chance of him going to the Lakers or the Sixers than anywhere else.
Yeah,
it's those two or he stays. And honestly, I think chances are he's staying. I think the Rockets is least out of all those options, if that is even an option.
No, I'm saying Rockets is third, and then fourth is he stays.
Oh, I think he stays over him going to the Rockets. No, I think he stays as first.
No,
I think
not at all.
He's most likely he's gonna stay.
No, not at all.
And then if he doesn't stay, then maybe Sixers, then Lakers, and Houston. So we disagree on that for various reasons. But, you know, I mean, honestly, you're always wrong about everything. So I'm just going to...
You don't have a good track record on this podcast.
We're going to delete all the episodes. We're starting new. Now. We're going to start making new predictions.
Remember like years ago, we stayed over at Donis's house for like his birthday. And we were playing NBA Live.
What happened to NBA Live? I remember that.
I remember I was like just killing you constantly. You just kept pressing rematch like constantly.
I remember before that, I thought I was the best NBA Live player.
I was amazing at NBA Live.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, definitely. I remember you used to use the Celtics.
With Anton Walker.
Anton Walker, man.
Yeah.
Just threes all day.
Because I would go against the computer on like Superstar. So that way, going against regular people was just super easy. I
feel like that's why like our 2K rivalry is where it's at right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So
that would be pretty much the same thing if you just like deleted all the episodes and then you just try and
start over.
Yeah.
New predictions. I wonder if people do that to like professional analysts like Stephen A. Just take what they say from like years ago, and just bring it back up.
They do that, you know. Every now and then you'll see a tweet pop up or a video.
Putting tweets aside, like literally taking the stuff that they've said live on air.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And just go back and
you remember you said this right here. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's plenty of times you can choose.
I mean, once you go with once you make a prediction, you kind of got to stick with it.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you just look like you're just
you kind of got to own it in a way, or like, I know what I said, but it's not looking like that anymore.
Very good at that, and like being wrong and just like making it look like Nobody questioning his like, you know, not basketball IQ, but just questioning like his knowledge of basketball or sports overall.
Yeah. Like, especially with this series, it's not supposed to be going this way. Like when he was talking about the Cavaliers last night, and he was like saying it's just ridiculous how bad it went. And it's a disappointment. It really is at this point. Like, one game I can give you, but 2 games and the way that second game went.
I think the second game was where they were up the whole game. Yeah. And they lost in the fourth, right?
Well, the second half is when the Celtics went on a really nice run.
They went on like an 18-point run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's crazy because at halftime I took a break, came back fourth quarter. I'm like, yo, what?
Yeah. I mean, I woke up in around like the middle of the night to check the score. I didn't believe my eyes.
Let's talk about this Houston Warriors series.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot that was going
exactly.
on. Yeah.
LeBron just overshadowed everything.
I got the Warriors in 5.
Warriors in 5.
Yeah. That's how this playoffs has been going. Like every time you think something's going to go a certain way, it's going the opposite direction.
So everybody's saying, you know, Warriors in 7.
Yeah. I'm saying Warriors in 5.
Warriors in 5.
It's going to be a very disappointing. I just made up a word. Very disappointing series.
I definitely agree with you, like the Warriors winning it all, but I say Warriors in 6 though. Yeah.
Okay. Before you were saying Warriors in 7. Yeah. Yeah.
The way, because it was still close.
You like how I bring up your old things that we've said in private?
Exactly. I was trying to get past it as fast as possible.
Like stuff no one's heard about. Was like, nah.
You can't do that. Nobody else knows.
You said Warriors in 7.
That's personal conversation. You can't bring that up.
I was waiting to see what number you're going to say. Like, what number is he going to say? Is he going to?
I was praying you weren't going to know.
Yeah, I remember.
Bring up the text like
Warriors in 7. It's gonna be the full thumbnail right there. You saying, yeah, Warriors in 7.
That was mid game. After the game, I was like, all right, because I'm not gonna say Warriors in 6 or
did we talk about this like the day we went to the gym?
Did we?
Yeah,
because I remember I was texting you during the game, and I was saying I think it's gonna go to game 7.
You probably did. Nah, that sounds embellish, ringing embellish.
Right.
Yeah.
I know what you meant embellish at all.
Yeah. No. I was like, did I just make up a phrase?
Yeah,
right
another
now?
word.
Yeah.
But I honestly think Warriors in 6 or 7.
Yeah, 5 or 6 definitely seems about right.
Yeah. We have a range now. Cool. 5 to 7.
Yeah.
We know the Warriors are winning though.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. But I mean, it's kind of like Chris Paul kind of like, you know, James Harden's going to play his game. I know you personally don't like James Harden's game like that.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of James Harden, but like I said, I feel like some rule needs to be changed where like, you know, he's just not driving to the basket, flopping and getting a foul every time.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Really, it takes
definitely
away from
slows down the game.
Like, not the pace of the game, but it takes away from my engagement, honestly.
It does. And engagement, yeah. Because you see that and you're like, oh, you get annoyed, irritated, like, oh, let's slow down this again. Let's go for the foul shot. It just takes way too much time.
But then like there's like this like weird area like where, you know, you want the refs to just let them play, but then you see the players complaining for fouls all the time. So there's like no middle ground, I feel like.
Yeah. But sometimes there's like a certain point where it just gets a little bit too out of hand, though, which we see with him, seeing as how he leads the league in those situations.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Westbrook.
Yeah,
and I know you don't like Westbrook. Yeah. We could just get right into that, honestly.
You want to get... Okay. Wait, first, let me make this one point, too. With the Rockets and Warriors series, a lot of it really depends on Draymond Green, and I think if he gets ejected, I would say, because we saw how much
I was about to blast.
We saw how bad that went when he got ejected and suspended for the Cleveland series.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
So now with this series, I feel like that could be a pretty big issue.
I remember you had made that good point. You were saying like, you know, it looks like he's gonna get ejected this series already, just because you could see, and it's like it's sad to see because like sometimes it's genuinely like him just being innocent, and then there's other times where he's just like overreacting.
Annoying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
it
like,
gets really annoying.
Relax, like, 'cause you're
I know you got heart for the game, but after a certain point, it's just like, dude, just shut up. Like you clearly went into the guy. Just get along with the game kind of thing.
What do you think about that? Because I remember you asked me about the screen, but you never told me how you felt about it.
That one, yeah. No, I definitely felt... I was on his side, but a lot of it is because the referee can just be like, oh, no, Draymond went to that situation. Most likely it was the other...
because of his track record, which is unfair, but at the same time, he did it to himself.
That's to himself. Like, there's been so many times. Like, I saw someone on Twitter put, like, he could, like... I forgot what it was. Like, crazy scenario, like, where he runs right into him with... football pads, like totally destroys the guy, yet he would still cry and think that he was not at fault. Like that's a very likely scenario. I could definitely see that happening with Draymond.
A lot of players though, like
a lot of
makes
them,
it known. A lot of players complain for everything, which is annoying also because like you want them to be genuine, you want them to like just respect. Because
we're seeing you on live television.
Exactly.
Like, there's replays on every angle. We can see like you're wrong. You're a grown man too. You're a grown man lying.
I feel like nobody brings that up often enough. Like they're grown men.
They're grown men just physically lying while their kids are at home watching these games.
You see LeBron Jr. like, Dad, you can't do that.
What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, they're clearly seeing their own fathers lying.
That's a bigger problem right now.
That's such a big issue. Yet they want kids to look up to them while they're lying. Wow, that's kind of hitting me right now.
I feel like I'm laughing, but you're dead ass serious.
Like they're physically lying on different angles.
Oh, man.
And then I'm sure if you ask them about it, they're like, oh, sometimes you got to fight for your cause. Because, if you let them go of one call, next thing you know, they're not going to let you go the other way also. Which is understandable.
Very understandable. But like when you overdo it to the point where it's like, we notice it's happening way too often.
Yeah, where you're known for it with like a Draymond, where this is like it's like NBA Twitter just prepares when the playoffs come. Like, oh, here comes the Draymond calls.
Did you see in the Celtics Cavs series where where JR shoved Al Horford? Obviously that was a little bit
too much right there.
Way too much is dangerous. You could obviously hurt him.
Very JR.
Very JR, man. Horrible.
Yeah.
That aside,
it's like, can you do anything good in this series really at this point?
We can clearly see that when JR is actually somebody plays actual defense on him, he just disappears. And I heard that JR is like the best pickup game player, obviously because you don't play the best defense. But you clearly see in the NBA setting when people are playing genuine defense, real lockdown defense, he just disappears. Like he just throws up stupid shots. LeBron's just rolling his eyes at him. He's like that little brother on the team. Like, what the hell, man?
Oh man, JR, out of all NBA players, JR gets me the most frustrated that he's getting paid that money.
Yep. He's like showing off. You could just see in his eyes like, I know I'm not, probably on the same caliber as most of these other players. Yeah. He has his moments. I'm not going to take that away from him. But like I said, that's probably directly influenced by people not playing the best possible defense.
You don't pay that kind of money for moments though.
Oh, nah, man.
For moments.
You got to be consistent if you're in the NBA getting paid that much.
Exactly. Like, you got to figure at this point in his career, he's got like that veteran that you would have like at a regular job that no one questions, even though you haven't really been working that much.
Right.
But no one questions it because like the first 3 months you were working hard. So no one really questions it.
Right.
That's where I think he's at his career. Like no one's really putting that much attention towards it to be like, you know what? Can we get this guy for way cheaper to pretty much do what JR's doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I get that. And there's people, honestly, on the Cavs bench that could feel that. Like, I feel like Cedi Osman should have given a chance because I've seen him play some good defense. They could have used that, obviously, in the third quarter when, like, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were just doing whatever they pleased with the Cavs defense. And that's another problem with them.
Yeah.
Like, their defense just disappeared after the half. Like, I don't know what happened. The point I was making way before that, Marcus Smart, you saw how he stood up for Al Horford, got the tech, but that just, you saw immediately after that, like even though they were already on a run, you just saw the energy, like you just saw him come to complete life, with him getting the tech and standing up for his player, and they were just like steamrolled after that.
Yeah, because you got to figure if you're the Cavs and your team does that, doesn't make your energy go higher.
Yeah, it definitely did something bad to the Cavs as a whole. Like, after that, they lost.
You're just looking at him like, what are you doing? Like now we look like the bad guys now.
Yeah, not only is it an and one, it's a flagrant one, so they got 2 free throws plus they get the ball back, which is
and
you just gave up the game after that. Yeah, he was already 0-6 to do that.
Oh my god,
horrible.
And you gotta look at not to bring up the Nets, but Joe Harris, who the Nets got from, he was originally in Cleveland.
Right.
That's like a player that if he was on the Cavaliers right now, it would definitely help out tremendously. Like this guy had a career year. He shot an NBA best 47% from 3-point after the All-Star break.
Yeah, right.
Something like that, JR is not doing whatsoever, and you're just getting paid way less than JR. And you got to just figure, like, man, they really messed up. Like,
because in the series last year, people were comparing JR to Clay, saying that, you know, how JR was such a streaky shooter and Clay was, you know, such a streaky shooter, but you can see Clay is holding his own.
Yeah, he still puts up, like,
he's a smart basketball player. He plays defense. There's so much other things that Clay does.
And then Clay's streaky shooterness, it's like his streaky shooting is going to get you like 50 or 60 points. JR's streaky shooting, he gets you like 30 points. But Clay's normal shooting is going to get you like 15, 20 points.
Right. Plus, he can lock down the best player in the other
exactly.
team. JR is not playing any
to really compare them to is like.
I mean, really, I'm not going to say old lay defense because JR can play defense, but it's just like we don't see the effort in this series specifically. You know,
it's turned into a whole JR bashing segment right here. I like it though. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
We're gonna bash Westbrook now.
Yes. Let's talk about that now.
Westbrook. So I know you're very passionate about.
I'm not passionate.
You're very passionate.
I'm not passionate about it.
Not passionate. I'm going to say that, but you understand that Westbrook, which you know you're very right about. Is overrated in a sense.
Yes.
Now I'm going to say that I still think Westbrook is one of the greatest in our league. You're saying that you just, you know, you don't think that he's, you know, he's way overhyped. So would you say that Paul George is the best player on that team?
Oof. See, here's my best likely scenario that I want for Westbrook. I want him to go to a team where...
So you want him to leave? This is interesting.
Or if he doesn't leave, be in a better system. But the thing is, Billy Donovan's coming back next season. They've already said so far. So that doesn't look like that's changing. So if he was to go to another team, you know, other NBA executives have said that they should probably trade him because it doesn't look like it's working out for them so far.
Right. You can just, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like they hit a wall, essentially, like a metaphorical wall where he was with KD and they got to, you know, the Western Conference Finals against
I really
3-1 lead.
I really think they should have won that series.
That was theirs to win, and
that's going to haunt them.
It's going to haunt Westbrook.
Yes,
because KD obviously he just went to the other team, got a ring, about to get another one most likely.
I think when KD's about 60, he'll think back about that series and like, man, we could have beat them. Yeah. We could have beat them. If I win another season, we could have won.
They could have, absolutely. Yeah. But then, you know, he's also like, you know, maybe those billions of snake emojis that they leave on his Twitter every day is worth it because, you know, he got a ring.
He does,
and potentially more. He's part of one of the greatest dynasties of all time. Old heads are going to bash me for that one. It's just crazy how, like, you know, Westbrook, he's put on this pedestal where everybody thinks that he's like, you know, he's averaging a triple-double, so that automatically makes him like one of the greatest in our league. And I feel like that's not why. There's several other reasons why I think he's a great player. But then for people to just consistently bring up that this is him, you know, averaging a triple-double 2 seasons in a row.
Which is very annoying,
Super. Like, obviously, there's so many reasons why that is. I feel like people in general don't understand that, like, you know, the pace of the league.
The thing is that what bothers me is that they do understand that, but they use that argument when it benefits them. But when we want to talk about Westbrook, there's like, nope. that doesn't factor into the conversation.
You said it perfectly. And honestly, like with Westbrook, I feel like if all it would take is for him, like, they have to get rid of Melo, first of all.
His contract sucks.
Yeah. Oh man, they screwed themselves over with that one. Yeah. I still think they would have been better off with him and Paul George.
No, that was way better. Yeah,
definitely. But how do you feel? I'm very interested to know how you feel about stat padding.
I remember going back to our NBA Live talk. I remember these, you know, they still do this in 2K where if you get certain achievements, obviously you get better points and stuff like that. I remember I would create a player, you make him like all hundreds and all this stuff. Cause back then you could do that and you didn't have to like actually earn it. You could just make everything perfect.
Put all the sliders all the way up.
Exactly. Like Madden, you know, you can make like the perfect quarterback where this guy's like as fast as Michael Vick in his heyday and like the best arm possible. And I would just do that, and then you slow the computer team down so you get 100 points, quadruple double, everything that you would possibly need in a basketball game. And it doesn't feel good because you're not earning it in a way. The rest of your team, obviously, they're not doing anything great.
Like 9 points maximum.
But in your head, you care about those achievements though. You're like, yes, I got those achievements. And that's why I feel like gets into the head of Westbrook a little bit too much. Not saying he doesn't care about winning a championship, but he definitely cares a little bit too much about the stats. Right.
So with that mindset, do you think that's considered stat padding, where he cares too much about the stats and not enough about the team effort as a whole and them getting a ring? You think that's what the definition of stat padding is?
Yeah, I would say so. But do you feel like in his head he doesn't think that his team is capable enough to get a ring?
I don't think that at all. When I see Westbrook, I think that he thinks his team is capable enough, and technically they are, and they should be. They're just not playing. And I don't necessarily think that Westbrook stat pads either. Like, because you don't
think so?
You can argue that I
mean, like, there's clear evidence of it sometimes, but
I feel like there's more clear evidence for players like Rondo. Or Rondo, he'll be wide open on a layup, and instead of just like doing clean layup, he'll pass it to somebody on a 3-point line. Line
but somebody else. It's happened to Westbrook too.
It's happened, but I feel like more often than not with Westbrook, it's him like just genuinely going after the rebound because he has heart. I feel like people take that away from him. Like he genuinely wants to go after the rebound. He's not thinking about maybe like Steven Adams gets to him, he'll go run down, be the outlet. He's just thinking, let me get this. He's not thinking, let me get this rebound because of the stat. He's thinking, let me just get this rebound and push the pace. Yeah. Because that's what he does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But then what do you say for the times that, for the assist when he's like, there's like clear chance for him to shoot?
I feel like it doesn't happen often enough for people for people to be like, like Westbrook is literally stat padding. He's just like, he has a wide open dunk. There's so many times where it's a called for pass where like he has, maybe he can take a shot, but it's a better opportunity for him to pass.
But there are times where it's not called for though.
I feel like it's more often than not.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's not often enough for people to consider Westbrook stat pad.
But what do you feel would be a better situation for Westbrook? I would like to see him a little more off the ball. That would be, I think, a nice little change of pace.
That's very interesting. I feel like that's his natural position, to be honest. I feel like he'd be much more of a threat there because it will relieve the pressure of him having to open up his play. Because I feel like his best position where he can be the most productive would be that point guard position because, with the ball in his hands, he'll drive. He's so fast and so quick. Nobody can really keep up with him. So then when he draws players to him, that's what opens up other players, on the wing or on the 3-point line for him to pass it to them and kick it to them. People consider that stat pattern too. I don't agree with that.
No, I don't really.
Because he does draw a lot of defense and a lot of attention away from other players, and he'll just kick it instead of him having to, drive on like 3 players at one time. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I feel like if he was like a 2, maybe that would take away. But I feel like his natural position is a shooting guard because of like his ability to score the ball. But, over the years, we've seen him progress to be like a playmaker and things like that. So I feel like with that transition and with the way the league is going, I feel like it's best for him to remain at that point guard position. But I can see what you're saying about him being at the 2.
Where do you see OKC moving forward, though?
Unless they do something with that Melo contract or something, man. I just feel like there's not much hope for him. I feel like,
but like, what
Paul
could
George
they do?
Leaving.
Say if they got rid of Melo, what would you want to get back?
Paul George?
Well, Paul George, I would say he's leaving for sure.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
So like, they're out of Melo and they're out of Paul George. Your dream scenario for OKC?
If they can snag Kawhi, maybe.
Okay, all right. I don't see that happening, but like,
yeah.
Okay, say that's not an option.
Say getting Kawhi is not an option. Yeah. I feel like they're fine at that.
Imagine
big
you
man
just really starting.
They need to
make
work
a time machine.
Bench.
Get Michael Jordan. Like, okay. I probably should be a little bit more specific.
Nah,
you say bench.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they have to because I feel like that was the biggest problem was that Westbrook was playing these crazy minutes. Paul George was playing these crazy minutes, and you can see how tired they were about.
I think the system is the biggest problem.
Like Billy Donovan's system, as a coach,
you got to start looking at that.
Who was their
coach when they
was it still Scott Brooks when they went to the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors?
No, it was Billy.
It was still Billy Donovan. Okay,
yeah,
because I feel like it's not necessarily Billy Donovan's system, but more of a problem with just their depth, honestly. Because like we can clearly see like they'll stay in the game for the most part, but when Westbrook is off the floor, when Paul George is off the floor, that's when the other teams start going on runs and things like that. So I feel like if they were to similar to what the Raptors did last offseason, where they just completely focus the team around 2 players, which in Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, and just added extreme depth to the bench, and it got them pretty far, even though they still weren't able to beat the the Cavs. It still got them the first place in the Eastern Conference, which doesn't mean much, but they definitely improved from last year. You can clearly see. So I feel like OKC needs to take a couple pages out of that book and improve their depth at that position. Improve their depth at every position.
Did you hear about supposedly the Raptors were fielding trades for DeRozan during the offseason?
Yeah, I heard that they were actually, which is crazy to me because like he improved a lot this season too.
Yeah,
I gotta say, and if that would have happened, so be it. I thought they were honestly gonna get rid of Kyle Lowry first, but
Lowry.
It's just crazy how you just have somebody that's gonna get you.
I feel like
25.
you looked at me like I'm just gonna keep moving forward from what you just said.
I know what to say about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy that they were willing to get rid of like one of the best players in the league.
But it comes down to a discussion. Let's have this discussion of just because you're one of the best players in the league, does that necessarily mean you can help a team win a championship? It feels like these last few years, that doesn't really matter anymore.
I see what you're saying. I feel like it matters more, especially. I hate to bring this up again, but just like Brad Stevens, like we can clearly see that he doesn't need like the system itself, like him. Like if you watch them play, like you know why? Like my favorite teams to watch right now is the Celtics and Warriors, and that's because you just see the creativity in their coaching styles. Like you see all the misdirections that they set up, all the screens, the ball movement.
I would love for the Celtics to get to the finals and like take 2 games from the Warriors. That would truly.
Has anybody done that in the series yet? I don't think anybody's taken 2 games from the Warriors in like
no
in a while. Honestly, I know not
really in a while. Yeah, not last season. No.
That's what I'm saying.
Because last season they almost went undefeated. They only lost one game.
One game, yeah, in the finals, which is crazy.
That's crazy. Wow.
But if the Celtics are able to do that, does that give more credit to the players or to Brad Stevens?
Well, it's still going to be the same situation, but I would feel like it gives a good amount of credit to Brad Stevens. After a certain point, you got to start confirming it.
Because they had a poll, I think, where they were like, like other coaches got to vote on the best coach, and he didn't get 1 vote. I don't know if you saw that.
Do you feel like that's just jealousy?
Yeah, 100% jealousy. There's there's nothing else it can be. Like you just literally, this guy he's a genius, and you could clearly see it just the way, like, if you understand basketball and you see the way the Celtics are playing right now, like you just know that, like it's just like music, the way they move the ball. It's just like everything flows perfectly just together. You can just see his coaching style just motivates them. Unlike Tyronn Lue, who's kind of stoic, and you can't. I can't really see him as the type to like be motivated. I feel like that's LeBron's job in a sense, which is crazy. But like you just see in this series, LeBron is just like annoyed with everybody.
And it's funny because when they were struggling in the first round last season to get past, I forgot who they went against the first round. Was it the Bulls?
Yeah, Bulls.
The Bulls.
That might have been 2 years ago.
They lost like the first 2 games, I believe.
I feel like nobody thought that the Celtics were going to get as far as they did.
No, which makes no sense.
It doesn't.
Like if someone says that, they were just purely just hoping to.
They had to either be a Celtics fan or they're just super optimistic, honestly.
I feel like that's just that way they can say they're that one person,
Yeah. I feel like that's me sometimes.
Yeah, you do that. You do that a lot, yeah.
Like you're low-key trying to say that.
No, I didn't really realize it until. Bulls, right?
Yep.
And I think they were down 2 games. And people were really seeing like, man, should the Celtics start looking at different coaching, seeing as how this is going to be like another first round exit for the Celtics? And now that tone has completely changed. I was just really bothered how like you look on Twitter and people really make it sound like this was the official Coach of the Year award. They don't add the part that it's like by the coaches. Because, like the real one is more for like the media. They're the one that really push. And people were just going for clickbait, tweets. Was like, wow, didn't even get one Coach of the Year award, even though they know what it is. It's because, they're just getting clickbait. That was just one thing I just want to get off my mind.
Yeah, I see. And I think, honestly, what's going to end up happening is Dwayne Case is going to get the award, which I feel like he's deserving of second place.
That would be hilarious. This guy's got to watch from home.
Like it's just, oh, man. I can't justify them firing him.
Nah.
That just gets to show you like how like volatile the coaching position is in NBA.
I know that was a really bad. I don't know. You got to look at Lowry, and Lowry's getting old. Lowry is old.
He's like what, 32, 33?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He looks like he's like 17.
Yeah, and also in a way like 40 in a way. I don't know. Like his face looks like 40, but it also looks 17.
His body shape is by far the weirdest I've ever seen.
I would say Melo. Melo's first for me. I've always had.
He's kind of got more in shape than last. Yeah. When he was on the Knicks, he looked like he had a beer belly essentially.
Yeah.
Like he just gave up.
Yeah. He looks like he has no shoulders.
I was so hyped for Melo, man. Like it's like I saw him doing his off-season workouts.
Only time I was hyped for Melo was when he first came to the league. That was the last time I was hyped for him.
Just blew all your expectations. You just gave up on him. Mm-hmm. Rightfully so. But he had his moments. And, but not recently, obviously.
No,
he
has too many believers. way too many believers, too many people that are way too on him.
Yeah, just giving false hope.
Yeah, shout out to Doug right now. That's what
I didn't want to say it.
Yes, full out. Shout out to Doug.
My boy Doug, you gotta give up on him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has by this point too. Like all Melo fans, in a sense, have to have given up by now just by what they've seen. Like
I still remember we had a conversation in your car where you guys were saying Melo was like top 15 of all time.
Of all time.
Yeah. I don't know if you were agreeing with it, but I know Doug was definitely
said that of all time. I would have said maybe last year he would have still been top 15 scorers.
Yeah.
I would have said that, but top 15 players all time.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can see Doug saying that though.
I can see that.
He's a fan. I would argue that Kobe's the best player of all time. It's not necessarily true.
Would you say Kobe's the best player?
Yeah.
Better than Jordan?
Better than Jordan.
Okay.
And
we'll talk about the nuts.
Personally, we'll talk about this another time.
Yeah.
Get so into this.
Yeah.
But real quick.
Yeah.
I feel like people often like they don't give Kobe the credit that he deserves. Like the analysts, like they just completely pass over him. I think him and Will. I personally think Kobe. We're not gonna get into this because that's gonna be a whole.
Yeah.
Kobe and Will.
I don't think Will, but I can review Kobe.
I would say Will was one of the greatest athletes of all time. I'm not gonna say best NBA player, but
you've heard this. I think we talked about this before, where supposedly he's had sex with like over 1,000 women.
I think you were the one. You were the one who told me that.
Yeah,
and he's the greatest at that too. But
can we talk about the Tristan Thompson thing, where he was like saying supposedly he had said that the reason he pretty much cheated is because like guys get on you if you don't hook up with groupies. Like that's how it is in the NBA culture. Like
really?
You have to hook up with groupies.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you felt like that was, I mean, it sounds to me like he was just trying to find an
Yeah, it just sounds stupid.
Situation.
Supposedly he said that. Supposedly that's what he said. And then Matt Barnes went off of him on Twitter. I was like, why is Matt Barnes relevant at this point?
What? Oh, man. I saw a video. I saw it was like an ad on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like it was like celebrity smokers that smoke weed. And I just see Matt Barnes' face pop up.
He's another one that's like, man, that guy's a millionaire for playing basketball.
He had his heyday. He had his heyday a while ago.
You just look at him and like the stuff that's happened with like him and Derek Fisher and like that guy. Nothing against Matt Barnes, but it's just crazy.
So nothing. You're talking strictly off the court.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That guy is man.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Gilbert Arenas bad.
No.
Right? That had maybe overblown a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
no, I felt like you were coming a little,
A little fish in there.
Yeah. Wait, what was going to go with that? I was going to segue into something.
Love that word.
Segue.
We need to get sponsored by Segway company. Is there even Segway companies?
I don't know. I don't know about that anymore.
Is Segways a thing still?
I don't think so. That's what I was saying. I don't know if that's a real thing. I mean, I think people saw that they weren't totally useful after a certain point.
I feel like those like transportation things, like they just go like they're just such quick fads. Like
because they seem like a great idea until it's like
hoverboards. Like they had like a couple of months. Then you had like Segways had a little while. Then you've seen those skateboards but it's not like a skateboard. It's like a disc, and then it has like two pedals, and then you just like tilt. It's like just get a skateboard. Just get a skateboard, dude. Like, come on.
Okay, that's where I was gonna go. Why? Put yourself into the mind of Tristan Thompson. Why do you marry Khloe Kardashian? First off, why do you?
Black?
What?
Because he's black. I'm black. Everybody, just
why? Like, why do you do that?
You know what's crazy? So I was watching.
You would do it? Is that what you're gonna say?
We'll talk about that. But
it's perfect time. This is the time to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I mean I would not Khloe.
Yeah.
Not Khloe. I just feel like it does something. Like if you want to be a celebrity, you're like, you're an NBA player. Maybe you don't stand out that much like Tristan Thompson does, Chris Humphries, those kind of athletes that they don't get much like screen time kind of thing.
Do you think it's just like a fame?
Yeah, it's fame. No, I'm gonna say, what's the word? They're just trying to be extra famous, trying to gain a little clout. So they just,
I wonder what LeBron thinks of that whole situation.
I'm pretty sure he completely looks down upon. I'm pretty sure he's pulling to the side like, yo, man, what are you doing, bro?
You gotta figure that.
Yeah.
You gotta figure.
You see LeBron, like he has like, his wife, his kids.
Just full on the game.
Full on exactly. Just completely engaged in the game. And then Tristan Thompson. And you see how good LeBron is.
Yeah.
How it's a direct reflection of how serious he takes the game. Mm-hmm. You have somebody, Tristan Thompson, who's like partying with a Kardashian. Not to say that's why he's doing bad, but, you gotta, at some point, you gotta figure that's somewhat of a factor.
Exactly. Yeah. because you can't really imagine LeBron getting into a situation where his personal life is out in the tabloids. Right. Like, it doesn't happen.
It's impossible. Like,
yeah,
I feel like he wouldn't do something that stupid just because he realizes that, you know, he has so many, you know, people like watching him every day. He has so much attention. He's not going to do something along those lines where it like starts affecting how people look at him. He has so many fans, and he's engaged in other stuff outside of sports as well.
Yeah, he's a full-on brand, so he's thinking that. But like, why? And then I saw one of the girls that supposedly he cheated on Chloe with. Looked pretty damn good. She looked like Rita Ora.
Yeah, it was like that really Spanish girl, right?
Not sure.
I remember. I just remember hearing. I didn't know he was Canadian. I just found that out until I watched the Vince Carter documentary on Netflix.
I passed by it and didn't click on it yet though.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of short. I expected more out of it. I wanted to see I just wanted to see his dunk over the dude in the Olympics, but they just kind of focused on him.
That was when he had hair, which was weird.
Yeah,
Vince Carter with hair doesn't look
definitely
right.
He should have been bald. Way younger.
Yeah, you were about to say he looks way better. I feel like you were going to question yourself.
Wait, I'm not going to finish that. It's a little suspect. It shouldn't be judged for saying it, but man, let's talk about it. It's 2018. I can say what I want to say.
Tell us your true reasons why you like Kobe Bryant.
I'm not going to get into that.
But
imagine. I love Kobe.
That was one thing I was going to bring up also when we were talking about Westbrook. Back to Westbrook. Do you feel like, you know, when I look back at that era, I feel like there's a good handful of players that we put on a pedestal a little bit too high due to nostalgia, when in reality was a lot of them couldn't even get past the playoffs or first rounds.
Yeah, because players are made in the playoffs. So me growing up during the time I did, you know, I saw Kobe was like the person that just, you know, he was like my you know, my hero in a sense. So like, you know, he made his name in the playoffs obviously, but then like I feel like sometimes it took me to go back and watch highlights of whatever I could find of players that people put on a certain pedestal to see why they were put on that pedestal. Like Oscar Robertson, I still don't feel like, I kind of don't see why he's as big as he is. I know triple doubles and all that stuff. I'm in the same box as Westbrook. I feel like he was overrated. It's just a lot of players. I feel like Wilt Chamberlain was underrated by players in our by people in our generation. You know, growing up around the same age group. I feel like Jordan was a little overrated. It's gonna be crazy to say
Hot
that.
take. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like Jordan was a little overrated. Definitely made his name in the playoffs. You can see why. You know, he's considered to go. I'll definitely say he's still top 3 all time. But for people to say he's definitively, you know, the number 1, I still don't agree with that.
I think I want to dive into like Vince Carter though, and Tracy McGrady's and the Gilbert Arenases, because these are guys that, if they were around today and they were getting kicked out of the first round, which will happen very often to them.
You don't think they would have as big as name as they do?
I think the media would just totally thrash them, like they do with players like John Wall and, you know, DeMarcus Cousins and other players like that. And because of, you know, the nostalgia and they have to respect these players, they don't bring it up a lot. I
feel like, which is crazy, because Devin Booker, in a sense, you know, like he hasn't gotten anywhere near the playoffs, but people are starting to say that he's going to be like one of the greatest, like next Kobe or whatever. But with Vince, you know, he did have I think one deep playoff run or two, not with T-Mac on the team, but it was just like him kind of carrying.
I think maybe second round though.
No, I think they made it to the conference finals.
Yeah,
I saw in the documentary they lost in the conference finals because Vince missed a certain shot.
And
they were saying that was because he had graduated from college earlier that day. And they were saying that was the Eastern Conference Finals that game. But you know, he had one deep playoff run, and that's when, you know, I feel like what made Vince was things other than the playoffs. I definitely get what you're saying, you know, because like I said, players are made in the playoffs, but like just kind of piggybacking off that documentary, like you can clearly see that like him, you know, doing what he did above, you know, his game above the rim in Toronto is what made him so big. T-Mac, man, that guy, it still hurts me to this day that he wasn't bigger. Like he wasn't. I mean, just because of injury.
That's one that really bothers me. Like obviously, he's one of my favorite players of all time. So like I'll defend him, and you'll look at his performance against the Spurs where he puts up like 13 points, 31 seconds. But you know, he was another one that I think probably just got to the second round with Yao Ming on the Rockets. And you look at that, and you're like, nowadays they would definitely get on you for something like that.
Yeah, they would. It's so much more critical nowadays. It's great to bring it up just because you see how, especially with Twitter now, like how a performance, like one bad performance in the playoffs. You know,
oh my God, some of these players are very lucky that Twitter wasn't around back then. Man, just the bashing that they would get.
Because like you had media and all that, but like just Twitter is just relentless.
Well, yeah. And then now a lot of different types of sports shows have come out.
Right.
There's a lot more sports podcasts. There's a lot more that first take kind of, first things first kind of thing. So like back then it was just more just regular sports talk radio.
Right.
So I think there's a lot more hot takes where you would see now like a Stephen A. Smith going after T-Mac if it was around today.
Oh yeah, definitely. I could just see the headlines now, honestly, if that would have happened back then.
But he's just
that would have happened now.
And then it comes down to, was his teams that he was playing with really that bad? And he just really got unlucky with the injuries. And there were,
I mean, T-Mac essentially was backpacking. He had Yao, but like besides that, he didn't really have like I can't even think of anybody off the top of my head, which is crazy.
But I feel like 10 years from now, we're gonna say the same thing. It's not 10. I would say 15 years from now, we'll say the same thing about some other team nowadays and be like, yeah, but they didn't really have anyone. But today we'll be like, they got a pretty decent bench, or they got a pretty decent this guy and that guy. But 15 years from now, we're not going to remember those names.
We're just going to remember like the big names.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll say like, he did with, by himself. He didn't really have anyone. But I think that's something we're going to have to wait 15 years from now.
Exactly. We wouldn't really know now.
Yeah.
So last thing I just want to touch on before we close this out, the NBA draft lottery.
Oh yeah, totally forgot about
talking about that. Yeah, got in depth with the whole everything, Vince Carter and everything else pretty much. But first we had the Suns, second Kings, third Hawks, just in the top 8.
Yeah, just
the Cavs, Grizzlies, fourth, Mavs, fifth. The Magic 6th, Bulls 7th, and the Cavs pick from the Nets. They're taking 8th. The Knicks have 9th pick, and the Sixers have the Lakers 10th pick. So yeah, top 10. Yeah. Luka Doncic or DeAndre Ayton.
I know, that's
who
a tough
do you think
one.
would be a better one to fit the Suns at first pick?
Tough one, because they need both a center and a point guard.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a very tough situation. Ayton, from what I hear, his defense not great, correct?
Yeah, he still has some improvements in doing defense. It's not like he doesn't play any defense at all, but of course, right before players start getting drafted, they definitely are more critical of areas where they lack in. But it's not like he's a horrible defense player. He can be.
He's not like a Jahlil Okafor,
right? He's a decent rim protector because he has his wingspan. His wingspan is insane. I don't think we haven't seen that in a while. Maybe like Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
I could see that, like a young Dwight Howard. That's who he reminds me of a lot, except he can stretch the floor. Like he does everything. Maybe that's
can he shoot threes?
Area. Yeah, he can shoot threes. Yeah. He literally has his entire game's there. Yeah. It's just like, they're complaining about his rim protection, which I feel like will come easily with his wingspan. He just needs the right coaching. And it's crazy, because in the March Madness tournament, they got knocked down in the first round. Yeah, and I feel like some of that is attributed to like all the stuff that was going on in Arizona with him being paid and all those allegations and things like that. But I feel like I don't have as much faith in Luka Doncic as everybody else does,
because it's the whole European player thing,
right? And I feel like nowadays, it's not mostly that. It's me watching him play, and his game seems pretty. I mean, I'm not going to discredit the talent of Euro basketball. Obviously, it's not on the same level as the NBA, but I'm not going to say it's
the Spain league is like second.
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. So it's not like the competition is that much worse than the NBA, because obviously Spain basketball is still pretty credited around the world. But it just seems like it does still look kind of easy for him, but I could just seeing him being kind of like maybe a little bit above average in the NBA. Like, I'm not going to say he's going to be a superstar, maybe not even an all-star. I just feel like I'm getting like a
Ricky Rubio?
Nah, because he's not really. He's like more of like a 2 guard. Yeah, I'm getting more of like a not as good as Devin Booker vibes. Like his type of game reminds me of like Devin Booker. Like he's able to spread the floor. He can shoot. He's a dead eye 3-point shooter, but he can drive to the basket. But I feel like he's gonna have a problem driving in the NBA because rim protection I feel like is elite in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he's gonna have a problem there. But I feel like DeAndre Ayton would be the best fit for the Suns if they were to go first.
Yeah, I think it's a much safer choice. I feel bad for teams that have a number 1 pick when there's not a flat out number 1. Like you got to look back at it. It seems like Cavaliers for sure LeBron was going to be number one.
The Sixers for sure were going to pick up Ben Simmons.
Exactly. Like stuff like that just makes things so much easier for teams. And then Suns are in a bad situation where they need kind of both players in a way. So that sucks. But I would agree with you. Like, probably safer bet is going to fade in. Yeah.
All right. Seems like that's all we're going to talk about for today. Thank you guys for listening in. Just like, subscribe, comment, everything, all that good stuff on YouTube. Anything else you want to say, Joel?
Nope, that's about it.
All right. Take care, guys.